Right now on Hoosier News Source, the university opens on-campus COVID labs, and we learn about the upcoming winter session.
And I have the latest on Hurricane Zeta as well as the forecast for Halloween. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Ella Rhodes. We sadly report that for the third week, another IU student has died. Sophomore and recent transfer student Ethan Williams was shot and killed Saturday morning in Brooklyn, New York. Williams was a pre-media student and from Indianapolis. Everyone here at IUS TV News sends our condolences to his family and the IU community. We will provide you with the latest updates surrounding the story. Monday evening, the Senate confirmed Justice Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. In a vote of 52 to 48, no one from the minority party voted for Barrett's confirmation. At 48 years old, Barrett will be the youngest member of the court. The Supreme Court now has a 6-3 conservative majority. We now transition to the latest COVID-19 updates. Hoosier News Source reporter Andrew Limparski is on campus with new numbers from the university. Andrew?
Thanks, Ella. I'm happy to say that once again, numbers are relatively low here at IU Bloomington. Now, we did see a slight increase from last week, 71 reported positive cases up from 64. That means the overall positivity rate is up from 0.7 to 0.84%. The two housing types that we really see any major changes in are Greek houses and residence halls. Greek houses are back up to 2% positivity, up from 1.5 last week. Residence halls are almost half of what they were, 0.6 from 1.1 last week. Campus is seemingly unaffected by the spike we've seen in Indiana and across the Midwest. In fact, the state is reporting a number of hospital admissions right now that we haven't seen since April, even right here in Monroe County. Here's what Dr. Aaron Carroll had to say in a recent webinar about the difference between IU and Indiana.
We're doing a reasonable job, if I'm trying to be even conservative there, at making it safer to be part of the IU community than not to be part of the IU community, which has been our commitment since the beginning.
And that's all for this week's Campus COVID update. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Andrew Lamparski. Be sure to mask up and have a safe Halloween weekend. Ella, back to you.
Thanks, Andrew. So how will IU continue to monitor cases going forward? Well, they just opened up their on-testing labs right here on campus. Hoosier News Source reporter Callie Lichter has more.
By now, IU students and faculty are familiar with Vault Health, the third-party lab that was in charge of analyzing weekly mitigation testing results. Starting earlier this month, IU has moved from Vault Health to its own labs that are located in Bloomington and at the IU School of Medicine on the IU-PUI campus in Indianapolis. These labs will be able to process 35,000 tests a week to start, which is an increase from the current 15,000 tests a week. Dr. Aaron Carroll, the Director of Mitigation Testing, has a hopeful outlook on the new labs due to the increase in testing capabilities.
Absolutely, which is why I think you heard me say earlier in this webinar that we want to massively increase our lab testing capacity for those first few weeks of campus, because I'd like to avoid that. That is what a lot of colleges saw.
The process for mitigation testing will stay the same, with results and tests coming from IU labs instead of Vault Health. With Vault Health, students and faculty found that their results took days to process, which is stressful for some. Dr. Carroll says that with the new IU labs, results can have a turnaround time of 24 hours. Frustration with Vault Health also comes from the sign-in process before every test, which freshman Ariel De Luna has experienced every week of the semester.
I find it really tedious to have to sign in every single time and enter in my address instead of having it saved. It takes up a lot of time, first of all. And then I did have an issue one time where the Wi-Fi wasn't working, and so I had to wait for around 20 minutes for my information to load.
In the future, the lab may be able to process close contact testing along with systematic and rapid antigen testing, but for now, it will focus on mitigation testing and analysis. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Callie Lichter.
IU will offer testing to any student, faculty, or staff member before they travel home for Thanksgiving break, starting the week of November 15th. The media school will soon offer a scholarship for journalists of color thanks to a gift from a very special alumnus. The donation comes from alumnus Michael Arnold, who donated $6 million last year to establish the Arnold Center for Investigative Journalism here at the media school. Now he has donated $100,000 to fund the Michael I. Arnold Diversity Scholarship. The scholarship will be awarded each year to one incoming freshman interested in studying investigative journalism and one returning student active in the Arnold Center. Kathleen Johnson, director of the Arnold Center, says she was thrilled when Arnold approached her about funding the scholarship after already giving so much.
Now to turn around and provide $100,000 to minority students, underclassmen at that, it's a gift. It's a tremendous gift.
The freshman scholarship of up to $5,000 may be renewed annually, while the returning student scholarship will be a one-time award of $5,000. For more information, you can visit arnoldcenter.org. The general election is now just days away. Hoosier News Source reporter Julia Lostetter spoke with one Indiana candidate in his final days of campaigning.
This week, I spoke with candidate Andy Ruff about how he plans to take down incumbent Trey Hollingsworth for the U.S. representative seat in the 9th District of Indiana.
I've got 20 years experience as an elected representative, so I've got a long public record of what I've stood for and what I've fought for and the legislation I've developed and sponsored and championed through the system here in Bloomington. So I've got something to point to.
He also spoke very passionately about how he feels the current representative is failing Hoosiers.
I've had it with the complete lack of representation, lack of connection, lack of understanding, and lack of voice that ordinary Hoosiers have in Washington through our congressmen. A bigger and bigger and bigger section of the pie just keeps going to the top. When the people who bake the pie, make the pie, deliver the pie, get less and less.
The candidate had this to say when asked about how he would compete with his opponent's background and reputation in business.
We frequently have business people saying, oh, we need a business person to run the government, right? I would flip that on its head and say, approving a budget of a city government of tens of millions of dollars and working with businesses, deciding whether or not to give tax abatements to big businesses and corporations in our community, big and small alike, working with the Chamber of Commerce, finding out their concerns about local issues and local policies that we're making and voting on as council members. That gives me plenty of experience in business.
Mr. Ruff also spoke about how his traditional values would appeal to both parties and would pave the way for progressive solutions.
The average Hoosier believes that an honest day's work should get you an honest day's pay, and you should be able to support your family and feed yourselves and not be in poverty, right? And if that means dramatically increasing the minimum wage, they believe that. They support that. That's my view. My concerns are concerns of average voters, ordinary Hoosiers, the vast majority of the people in the 9th District. Trey Hollingsworth cannot say the same.
For Hoosier News Source, I'm Julia Lostetter.
As of now, Ruff's competitor Trey Hollingsworth holds a 7-point percentage lead in the race according to a poll conducted this week by Change Research. And just a reminder to all Indiana voters, if you plan on sending in your mail-in ballot, you should do it as soon as possible. That ballot must be in the hands of election officials by noon on Election Day. Coming up on Hoosier News Source, we hear about a new Black Lives Matter street mural in Bloomington. And Caroline Clare joins us with this week's forecast. Welcome back to Hoosier News Source. Caroline Clare has the latest on this week's weather. Caroline?
Thanks, Ella. This week brings yet another hurricane for this season, the 28th in fact. As Hurricane Zeta makes its way up through the Gulf Coast, it is expected to make landfall around 7 p.m. on Wednesday evening in the New Orleans, Grand Isle, Louisiana area. And what that means for us here in Bloomington is rain chances as the hurricane makes its way up through the continent. In Bloomington, we'll have rain chances on Thursday, so if you are heading out, make sure to be weather aware as roads may be slick. Fortunately, these rain chances will diminish as we head into Halloween weekend. Starting early Saturday morning at 10 a.m., 42, and overall a beautiful day for having Halloween, and even into the evening, we will be having a blue moon, which means it is the second full moon in a 1-month period, and the first full moon since 1944 to happen on Halloween in all time zones in the U.S. Now let's take a look at what to expect for the rest of the week. After our rain chances on Wednesday and Thursday, a beautiful weekend going early into next week. 50s and 60s, even dropping possibly into the 30s as we head into next week. Make sure to stay safe during this spooky weekend. Ella, back to you.
Thanks, Caroline. Saturday marked the completion for the first of 2 Black Lives Matter street murals approved by the city of Bloomington. Hoosier News Source reporter Lizzie DeSantis spoke with the project designer behind the mural.
I'm here at the Banneker Community Center, where volunteers have been working tirelessly all day to be able to provide a positive message to the Bloomington community.
Black lives are a part of a bigger community, so I want to essentially convey togetherness and cohesiveness, and you see that with some of the design and the way that and even the way we went forth about creating the painting.
Each letter of the mural is designed to celebrate a different group within the Black and Brown community. Volunteers shared with me what was important about the message of the mural to them.
I would like to see places where people of color can go and feel safe and feel celebrated and not feel politicized or policed or weaponized in any way. I want a place where we don't have to say that Black Lives Matter, but that it's just understood.
I think artistic activism is important for several different reasons. Not only does it make a visual statement, but also artistic activism, like you say, it gets young people inspired. People can really understand how you can use your creativity to make change.
The Banneker Center Advisory Council expressed that the project was met with overwhelming support by the city officials, and the team is already beginning to lay the groundwork for a replacement mural for when the road must be repaved. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Elizabeth DeSantis.
The mural is located on Elm Street at the Banneker Community Center, which is known as a symbol of diversity and inclusion for the city of Bloomington. Do you need to fill a class requirement or just want to take an interesting class but don't have room in your spring schedule? IU's new fall intensive courses and winter sessions can help. The College of Arts and Sciences fall intensive courses begin November 30th and end December 20th, and almost all courses are 1 to 2 credits. Some fall intensive courses cover current events and hot topics such as understanding COVID and boycotts, Bloomington and beyond. Winter sessions will take place from December 21st to February 7th with holidays and the New Year observed. The winter session offers more courses that fulfill degree or general education requirements such as public oral communication. There's no additional cost for these courses as long as students stay under the 40 credit hour limit across both semesters. You're able to view a list of fall and winter session courses on college.indiana.edu. Over the weekend, the Hoosiers had a big win against Penn State. Our sports reporter Lexi Venetti joins us with the latest on IU football. Lexi?
Thanks, Ella. Big Ten football is back, and better yet, IU football is ranked. Hoosiers are ranked 17th in this week's AP Top 25 poll, the highest ranking since they were also ranked number 17 in 1993. IU versus Penn State was a game of inches as Penix went for 2 in overtime. Hoosiers won 36-35, their first win over a top 10 team in 33 years. Now only 2,000 fans were allowed as each team got 1,000 tickets. So how did fans react, and how did fans celebrate?
Big Ten football is back, but students cannot attend the games or tailgate fields. Some Hoosiers were tailgating at home, and I talked to some fans about not being allowed into Memorial Stadium. Some fans are more excited than others.
I'm so excited that IU's playing football again.
Honestly, not really, because I never really went into the games in previous years, but go Hoosiers!
And in regards to safe tailgates.
I hope so. I trust my Hoosier fans that they're practicing social distancing. I want them to so we can stay on campus.
I mean, as long as everyone's being safe and wearing masks and distancing, I think it's great that we can still tailgate and have fun.
One IU senior may have even predicted the upset.
Go Hoosiers! Penn State, they look good, but they're not the 8th best team in the country. I think IU's up there. Let's go Hoosiers!
Students fled Kirkwood Avenue and Memorial Stadium after the win. But as one IU student reporter points out on Twitter, without masks. This could be a monumental season for the Hoosiers if we stay safe.
IU kicks off next week at Rutgers at 3:30. Ella, back to you.
Thanks, Lexi, and thank you for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source. To learn more about this week's stories, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IUSTV News. I'm Ella Rhodes from Bloomington, Indiana. We'll see you next time.